Hey everybody, it's Dan from the Outdoor Trade Show Network. It's Sunday night. It's time for We Care You Matter, and I got my one of my best friends here. I got Justin Blanchar on, and hopefully Justin and I are going to do a lot more of these. Um, and I'm going to get back to where I do a lot more of these. Is I love talking to people about their products and talking about what their companies are doing, what they got going on. So with that, Justin, why don't you? I'm going to put your website on here and let people know because it's spring fishing. I think you and I went fishing on Wednesday, but we're up and running and you got blade baits. Well, your blade baits good ice fishing, spring, summer, fall. Your blade baits are good any time of the year. So go ahead and Justin, let people know the website looks great. I mean, the products look great. Everything, man, you're up. You got it. You got it sailing there, my friend. So go ahead and give everybody, let them know what's going on at Vibrations Tackle.
Thank you very much, Dan. Yeah, it's one of my favorite times of the year because it's a transition between ice fishing and open water, and the blade bait really excels, especially for bass, as you mentioned, all seasons. But the cold water periods is when they really do well for bass, especially bass. And in Wisconsin, a couple years ago, the law changed, the regulations changed to allow uh, catch and release of all bass. So as soon as the ice is out, that's going to give us an opportunity to go and get some of those cold water bass with blade baits, which in the South is a very popular lure because the lakes down there don't freeze. But at any rate, I think I'll start off a little bit about who I am. I'm Justin, and I've been fishing for as long as I can remember. I was influenced by my dad and my uncles and my grandfathers. And I don't, yeah, there's so many that I almost I hesitate to start naming names because I don't want to leave anybody out. But skipping forward to the 2011, that's how long we've been in business. All of our products are made in the USA, and we are a veteran and firefighter slash family owned business. So we're right down here in my little studio in my basement, and this is where pretty much everything is made. We're a small operation, and my overall goal is to be able to grow our company large enough that we can really, really give back. Give back to some areas that have impacted either me or our family. Um, Such as, well, Dan, Take a Vet Fishing. We're sponsors of that. We're co-founders, my dad and I, along with Jay Garstecki, and that nonprofit has absolutely exploded. In fact, I think they have an event down in Florida this weekend, or this past weekend they had one, I think.
Yeah, I think the past weekend.
So, there's, as far as other organizations that I want to be able to really make an impact, is the Sparta Project. That's funded through sponsors of Take a Vet Fishing. I went to the Sparta Project. They specialize in treatment for firefighters, paramedics, police officers, and veterans in PTSD.
Yeah.
That's out in California, and it takes a lot of money to put one of those cohorts together so that they can continue helping people. Rogers Memorial Behavioral Health. I spent a lot of time there, and I feel like I owe it back to them. And then the Hermit Heart Center. My son, he was born with a heart defect, and they treated us really well, and they fixed him, and he continues to check in. But those are, well, out of everything, I mean, our lures are great, and I love them, and I love talking about them. But I wanted to emphasize the big picture before I, dive into all this stuff.
Well,
Um,
another thing, Justin, I've caught everything with your lures. Like right now, you and I, Well, here and how things work for you and I is this: Wednesday, I get a phone call that they're just slaying them over at the dam. You better get over here. You call me a few minutes after that, Justin. They're slaying them at the dam. We go over there. They open the gates up. They pushed all the fish out, and everybody's like, every cast we were catching northern and walleye and everything else. But that's the part about vibrations tackle lure. I, I caught a catfish using a vibrations tackle lure. So I've caught everything using your lures, and they're very unique in how they work. You get a vibration in the water. It's very unique. Your design, everything about your lures, and they work. They work great.
Yeah, they certainly do, and that was talk about odds. I think what did they say as far as down at the dam? They just opened it up that afternoon or
So
something.
morning, about 9
Um,
in the morning, Kyle had came
yeah,
this morning. He slayed them, and then he left. They opened the gates up. We pull up, and they're like, "It's a dead zone here." The water. They opened all four gates up, and they pushed all the fish out. So it's like, oh, great. Leave it up to
that's
us.
our. You know what though? I'm sorry, cut you off. Go ahead.
No, they open the gates, push the fish out, and we show up. Yeah.
When I saw you and Kyle walking back to the vehicles, I had just made a little introduction video to put a little video vlog together, and then as soon as I wrapped that up, you two were walking back to the trucks, and I'm like, all right, something's up. But you know what? What I enjoyed most of all, Dan, was just meeting up with you. That was fun.
Yeah, we had a
Just
good time. Good time.
getting up and throwing. We didn't catch anything. I stayed a little later and was starting to get short nipped. If I would have had a stinger hook on, I probably would have nailed some. But um, I guess you know what? A lot of people. It was very obvious at the fishing expo last weekend in Madison that there are so many people locally that do not know what an echo tail is, or they've heard of it and they're trying to figure it out. So with that being said, you know, I think we need to do a better job of really explaining what this lure is, because a lot of people don't even know what a blade bait is. Which, blade baits, for the longest time up until the last couple years, were completely underutilized. Now that it's kind of catching hype, there's a lot of companies. All your bigger companies are coming out with their own models, but the biggest difference between other companies and the product that we make is that it has this barb here. You can see this barb, and what that barb is for putting plastics on the back. So it's a blade bait with a interchangeable soft plastic tail. So I'm going to give you an example. This is a Kalen's 6-inch Magambo, and this is a 3-ounce head. Now I'm showing you these larger ones for the purpose of demonstrating. But all you do is you take, your plastic. Plastics are exploded across the market, so it's really fun to mix and match and to see what they look like in the water. It's You can create something different on the fly, and it's, unlimited to the amount of combinations. Um, Here's this little scampy tail. These work good. Anything you just try it. This little paddle
Yeah, I
tail.
was gonna say the paddle
Um,
tails work nice. And the other thing you can do with yours is you can take a paddle tail and you can tear it in half, and you can use the back half. We've done so many different things using your baits. There's just so many different. And what I've always liked about vibrations tackle is this: you see guys using different colors. So let's say purple or white is, guys that catch a fish are white. You can change that tail in a matter of seconds.
yes,
Seconds. You
and
can change the tail to the
that
different
is
colors.
absolutely, and that's one of the key features of it, is being able to change the color, or a big one for us, because we make these in so many different sizes. I think we have 15 different sizes between the length and the weight. But we make them itty bitty guys for ice fishing, and then everything in between for walleye and your bass. But then we also make them, as big as this. Um, this is a 4 ounce rattle model. It's got less weight on the nose. It's got a nice vibration, and So, but at any rate, where I'm going with that is being able to match the hatch. So, blade baits, or our blade bait, is already shaped similar to how a fish is shaped. So being able to match the hatch, which we are very, very, we match the hatch as one of the most important things, especially for my dad, that he looks at before he decides to start throwing lures, especially for pike. Recently, I just heard Mike Iaconelli. I follow him. He's one of my influencers. And he talks about match. He's about the only guy that talks about match the hatch more than my dad. So that's an ability to being able to match what the game fish are eating, and then the vibration. For those of you that don't know what a blade bait is, a blade bait is a stamped piece of metal, and it's got weight at the head. And when you lift up on one of these polling holes, it vibrates. So it's and you can feel it when, you can feel it in your line, you can feel it in your handle, and it throws off a lot of vibration. And fish have lateral lines, so that's how they, you know. Dan, are you still there?
I'm here. I'm just
Okay, I wasn't
enjoying
sure
this.
because
I'm
it
I'm
changed the
just
screen.
no, I'm just enjoying this because I always like it when you talk about your. I really enjoy when you talk about your products.
I thank you
I
very
use them a
much.
lot.
And
I use them a lot, and so I use your Echo Tails a lot. So I always like it when you talk about them.
yeah, it's a nice opportunity to be able to talk to him this evening. So thank you very much again, Dan.
Well,
Um,
Justin, it works for everything. We've caught. I don't. I've caught. I think maybe one or two bluegills using your little Echo Tails, but other than that, I've caught every just about every species. And then you had guys that were fishing off of the what was it, oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico, or out in the. They were jigging. They were with the big heavy one. They were jigging off the side of the rigs or whatever out there and catching fish.
red snapper. They were getting them out of Louisiana down at the um, out there in the Gulf. But and that's the saltwater models. We're still working on. We have certainly had enough saltwater fish caught on them, but right now we're trying to focus on just getting our baseline product line up, because for the first time, actually, we have so much product, as you know, Dan, and I haven't even touched into the other products that you could make the Echo Tail in other than a blade bait. But there is just so many products that it was overwhelming. And over the last few years, getting help, I kind of put vibrations tackle off to the side, getting help for myself and for my family. So it was an
Well,
overwhelming project, but I took just one at a time, and we finally are getting a lot of product up that we've never had before. And then also on the website, with all that product, I've been working on the navigation to being able to find what you're looking for.
right.
Whether it's by size, by color, whatever. But I'm going to make a bold statement, and I've been talking about this. I've been I'm on the hunt, and I haven't found it yet. But I'm going to make a very bold statement, and I think the following lures will start kind of giving you a picture of why I'm making the statement. I don't even have half of what I can do here, but the statement is that the Echo Tail is the most versatile fishing lure in the world.
Yeah,
The
I'll agree
infisher
with that. I
the
said that all along. I've
Yeah,
always said that.
yes, and the in fisherman, I think it was Ted Pack, they called it he called it the Swiss Army knife of fishing lures. And that was a long time ago, before all of these other products were developed in other categories of lures. Um, which um, let's get sharing some of this stuff.
Well, here I got
So
a question. Okay, I got a question. You've been working. I know what you work on your. Because you showed me a lot of what the swim dunking. I saw that's on the website, so you could talk about that now. You've done some amazing things with some different variations of your Echo Tail that are really kind of unique.
yes, um, the Echo Tail became a it, the blade itself became basically something to build upon. So when we started looking, one thing kind of led into another. In much of it, kind of we stumbled into it by accident, or somebody, told us that they modified it. So we started putting the pieces together and then kind of saying, well, this might work and that might work. And eventually we came up with a whole nother product line of EchoTail. So as you mentioned, Dad, yeah, EchoTail, this is what we call the swim Duncan. So you can make these skirts are interchangeable. Obviously the tails are, and normally it would have a hook there, rig Texas rig, but um, it's a swim jig, So we made all these swim with all these round heads. It's very unique because there's not really any heads on the market that are like it. Um, this model here, this is a little 16th ounce model with a paddle tail. And the really neat thing about these, when they come through the water, you pull them through the nose. When they come through the water, because this lure or this hook is on a split ring with a little weight, it really swings, which makes the head give off a nice wobble.
Yeah, they
And
do.
the hook, because it's attached to a split ring, it allows you to or fight the fish without a huge risk of, well, it eliminates the fish popping off because of this because of this hook being able to move, so it doesn't get kinked up. You know, it doesn't get kinked up on the bait as far as like them popping off. So that those are we've got those in three different sizes. We got them in the 16th ounce, like I showed you. No, I'm sorry, I keep calling it the 16th. It's a quarter ounce short, and then we have them in the half ounce short. And then, like I'd shown you before, this is a 3/4 ounce short. So,
Yeah.
playing around with different hooks. The other one too is that we call that the swim jig. This is the swim Duncan swim bait. So without the skirt, so it's just a smaller, profile without the skirt. We've done very well with those for fish on Lake Wabisa. So, which is where where we're local. The next lure is what we call the funny bone, and the funny bone is this is a larger model. It is an echo tail that's got a kink in it, and we tied mylar in the back in place of the tail, and that allowed us to create a spoon like, call it the funny bone. You can cast them. It's a forward weighted spoon, which is very unique. We use them as just a straight retrieve. We use them as a jerk bait. The neat thing about when this lure cuts through the water is a jerk bait, whatever which way this head is facing, when you give it a jerk and then a little slack, it'll turn around and slide back towards the fish. So that, these can be jig, trolled, cast along with the rest of the product line. And we're making the funny bone in sizes as large as a 6 ounce. So we're going to have a nice variety of sizes. I hesitate to even say when it will be available on the website, just because I'm starting to get a better feeling for how long things really take. It goes quicker when you're thinking about it in your head, but the reality is that to do a nice job, it takes a little longer. So there's that. The other thing that going to be coming out with too are these, like these models that come with a spinner bait. This one is a smaller rattle, but now you're putting a spinner bait above the echo tail, allowing you to obviously give more vibration, but fish it a little slower and higher in the water column. Um, so I got a couple other models here, and it doesn't even. There's so much I can show and share with you. Some of it I can't yet because of some steps that I got to go through in actually being able to make it. But
I got a question. If
one,
somebody got it, I
yeah,
got a question. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you and they had some questions, and
yeah,
I know you well enough to know you take care of them.
yes. You can contact me direct
Yep.
at
Yep.
608-516-5339. You can email me at vibrationstackle@gmail.com.
That's on
Or
the
you
website,
can,
right? That's on the website.
yeah, and
Yeah.
yep. And if you're watching this on social media or Facebook, Justin Blanchar is my name, and you can, PM me there too. So, um, yeah, that's like I said, a lot of this stuff, and please, if you're interested in anything that you're seeing here but not available, just give me a call so I can, discuss getting something made for you that's not really available. So it'll probably be like more of a made to order type thing for right now because we don't have a lot of this stuff
Yeah, you got
manufactured yet. So
you're shipping a lot of stuff out. I mean, you guys are moving a bunch, and you got a good product, Justin. I've always said that since day one, since the first day I tried it. It's like, oh man, these things work, you know. And this time of year, I fish a lot below the dams in the Mississippi and on the different Wisconsin River and different rivers here. They work great, because you got that vibration, and they work great. They work great below the river, below the dams.
yeah, absolutely. And I wish I did more river fishing myself, but I'm near Lake Wabisa all the time, or Pewaukee here in the Oconomowoc or Pewaukee area. So yeah, river fishing. I think most walleye anglers, I think before they started using them, or many of them started using them on open water structure. I think the blade bait for northern locate or areas in fishing for walleye tends to be on the rivers.
Yeah, yep.
Rivers and blade just because they hold current well, and then they got the vibration, so it's a good combination. When you're vertical jigging, the neat part about it is your lure never leaves the water versus casting another crankbait or lure. Um, but yeah, it's man, I've got so much stuff I'd like to share,
Well,
and like
what's
you
the
said, maybe we can do. Um, I think also. Oh, right now we're in my new little mini studio. That's something new. I've started putting together a video podcast called Echotail Addiction, and you can find that on our website. You can find it on Vibrations Tackle Facebook page. Um, Echotail Addiction it's kind of a fun way for me to talk about some of the company updates or developments, along with being able to specifically teach those that want to know how to fish the Echotail, every little piece about it, and breaking it into small little sections from hook placement to how to change a split ring on it to the different tails to troll. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And then we'll include other videos like how do you safely remove a hook from a muskie's mouth and return it to the water in a safe, like there's
yeah.
just so much other knowledge that I want to touch on, not just the lure line. um, and then the other little studio is actually right in front of me. We call it the uh, blades of steel. And what
No,
blades of it's like a fly. It's blades of steel fly shop, and that's a whole
right.
nother avenue we started getting into. I enjoy tying and making. Like I just made this one. It's not very pretty, but this one here, what we do is we take the body without the lead on it, and we use that as a form to build these casting flies off of. And let me tell you, the fish hammer these things.
Yeah, they do.
So
Flies.
so that's one model. Here's another model. This is a popper that we took and made. And so we'll have poppers, and I want to teach people even how to make these. We might come up with, DIY kits. I love, if I almost make a new lure almost every day. If I'm not making one, I'm thinking about one that I could make, because they're just, like I said, it is so versatile. It's hard to just stick to the basic product line because it's so exciting to create new products,
Well,
which kind of
you
drove
can
my
you
family
can
nuts
change
for a
so much,
while.
right? You can. Well, your product's so versatile. It's a
Yeah.
it's a modular fishing product. You can change it up. You
Yeah.
can do a lot of things with it.
Yes, sir. You certainly can. And a lot of the things, like I had mentioned earlier, it stems from our customers, like John Hines, after 5 years into our Equitail, he called me and he's like, hey, just to let you know, we've been using the Equitail for walleye trolling, in place of a spinner rig, the crawler harness. We're using the Equitail and with a harness behind it, because John used to notice that a lot of times the fish would hit the weights, and then they
Oh,
got the crawler behind it. Well, then sometimes it get it up to the boat. So his theory was, we're going to use the echo tail, have a hook on it as a weight, and it'll act as a weight to get it down, and then you still have the crawler harness on the back, and it gives it a different type of vibration in the lure. Same thing that we're going to be doing with the funny bones, applying the same concept to get a side to side motion with like a slow death hook on the back, where it's going to
yeah,
be circulating and this is going to be rocking. So there's just so much stuff that you can do. It's so fun. It's a having um some mental health challenges with my PTSD. It allows you to stay mindful, and it allows you to create something of your own on the fly, and it's exciting to um, build, and then it's even more exciting to catch a fish on something that you've built, that
right.
you've made. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a double, um, so um, anything else, Dan, that you
No, not that here. Let me not that I can think of. So not that I can think of. I mean, I just enjoy talking to you. I always have, always will. We always talk about making lures and doing different things, and what people are doing and where they're doing it at. So I always enjoy that, Justin. Nick said good evening, guys. I never got a chance. After we got started, he said good evening, guys. So I want to say hi to Nick, and then yeah,
Nick's awesome.
I enjoy
Nick's
this.
one
I
of
enjoy
the
this. And
best guys I know.
oh God, he is. He's a hell of a fisherman too. So, well, the other thing is this: I want to do a lot more of these, and I want to do this with Justin. I want to do this with everybody. You and I, you did the very first one with me, and so that was
I
what,
did, and
three, 4, 5
I
years
have fun
ago.
with it.
Yeah.
And
So
I don't remember what we were talking about, but
I
like
don't either.
you, I love products too. I love, I don't look at other companies as competition,
No, I like looking at what they do.
especially as like the smaller companies. I support them.
Yes.
Like especially like local, like Lee Talkin. I mean, that's a guy that he was one of my influencers growing up. I mean,
Right.
he's not that much older than I am, but old enough where I was still in high school, or grade school or high school, and he was out guiding every single day, and
Right.
his line of lures are amazing.
Yep.
The Chaos Tackle, they've come out with new stuff all the time.
Yeah, they
You
do.
know, Acme Tackle, that Acme who owns the Kalins, who, we purchase these. Most of our product line is stocked with the Kalins products, which is owned by Acme, and they're in Fort Atkinson. They're local,
Right.
great group of people. I've known them for a long time now. But they came out with a blade bait. It looks cool. I love it.
Yeah.
They came out with
There's
their
a
own. I
lot of
can't
neat
remember what
stuff
they
out there.
V-Rod, I think is what it's called. But there's just so many cool products. And how many products are being made in basements, especially since COVID? COVID
Oh,
has, a lot of people were, stuck in their houses,
well, what's
and
it? Well,
during the
guys,
lockdowns, and they wanted to do something.
yep. There's a lot of guys that do that. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of uh, very ambitious people out there that make a lot of really neat stuff, and that's why I know I started out. I get off course a lot, but I want to do this. I would love to send people links and just ask them, how'd you come about your idea? Like your idea with the Echo Tails is great. All of that stuff. It amazes me like there's no tomorrow. And then to show off your products. Talk about your products and show off your products. So I mean, I want to get back on course with just talking to everybody. And if I've always told you this, Justin, if you want to help, I'd love to have you helping me do that too.
Oh, I enjoy it, and there most of your basement bait builders are doing it for hobby and doing it for themselves, but
Yep.
and I would encourage any of them if they want to start a small business and go at it, let her rip. And also a good time to do it. It's can be a roller coaster, but it's worth it. It's fun. You get to talk to more people. You talk fishing. That's what you do. You
Here's another
fish.
one. I have never ran into somebody that started doing this or had an idea and followed through with their idea that regretted it. Yeah, we go through some tough times. And yeah, our wives look at us and say, "What are you doing?" But we enjoy what we do. It's a project. I look at it like this. You had an idea and you're following through. Whether it works out or not, it doesn't matter. You're following through with your idea.
Once you make your mind up, you got a product, and you make your mind up that you start taking action on following through. You can't sever that. We all have good days and bad days, and the bad days or not so good days can be the days where you're banging your head against the wall because you're putting out little fires business wise. It's normal business. There's stuff that comes up you got to take care of. Plus your family. My family is more important. So
Yeah,
um, so there's a lot of little curveballs, but you still wake up every single morning wanting to do it again.
yeah. No matter
You
what
get
goes
your
on.
coffee down, and
Yeah. And there's a lot of
but
guys, and I want to talk to them. I would like to at least have the opportunity to ask them, how'd you come up with your idea? And how's it going? Just tell me about your product
talk.
and
Yeah.
talk. Yeah, yeah, just talk. Let's just talk about it's so great about we have so many tools today that we can do that. So I want to get back on why I originally started this. I think I talked to Dan Creviston at Freedom Baits. He's going to come on next week. We got Canoacopia in Madison at the Alliance Center. I think next week is Canoacopia, and
Yes.
man, there's so much. And you're big into all the kayaking.
Yeah, the kayak. Didn't even
Well,
touch
you're
on
big
that.
in
The
the
kayak.
board
Well,
stuff.
because it's so the stand up paddleboard, I really got
Yeah, I
into
was
more
gonna
for
say
my
you
own
you're
water
good at the
therapy.
stand up where you stand up. I trust me, Justin. I would not be very good on that. I
Well,
my head off to
I'm
you, but
not gonna lie. I fall a lot, and after the first season, I went into the second season, and I realized I'm like, that's just a part of the game. You're gonna have boats drive by you. I mean, I almost actually got hit by one. They didn't even know I was there even after they drove by. Um, I had some choice words after that. I caught it on video.
right.
It's kind of funny, but the main thing is that okay, you're gonna get wet. As long as I get wet and I keep the board dry and everything on it dry, I'm good. So once I
Yeah,
came
yeah,
to that conclusion, but yeah, the kayak. The reason the kayak fly, there's a couple different areas here that it really excels. Kayak fishing, sup fishing, stand up paddleboard fishing, canoe, basically all paddle sports, and also travel, especially up to your Canadian lodges and stuff. Why? Because it is so versatile. You have limited space on those vessels, or perhaps in a plane, where you can't, you're limited to 100 pounds of stuff, and that includes your clothing and everything for the week. Well, with this, you're bringing a lure that you can, literally, like this kayak here. We got this swim dunk and kayak kit we came out with a long time ago, and inside here, you have, show you an example. You have all of these different. Can you see that? Okay, Dan.
Yeah, I'm gonna
So
do
just,
solo here so you can
I
show it.
mean, there's just like these kits. It comes with interchangeable skirts, different tails, different size heads, and at the end of the day, if you don't want to use a swim jig, convert it into a blade bait. If you want to
Yeah,
use a lipless crankbait, so take one lure, and I think there's 8 different builds of different categories of lures that I've come up with. There's one that's absolutely crazy that I'm still playing around with, and I couldn't even believe it myself the first time I ever tried it. And it is with an Equitail. It is with one of the round heads, and it's pretty cool.
yeah.
I have not yet really shared that, but
No, you got
there's
stuff.
the point is that they're versatile, and it allows the angler to get creative. Um, Tournament fishermen, I cannot tell you how many guys fish with these, and they come up to talk to us, and they're like, "Hey, we use your bait, but not many people know it because we catch a lot of fish on it, and we don't want people to know what we're using." That's the problem with a lot of the tournament anglers, or some of the guys who are influencers in the fishing world. They they, they don't want to cough it up, and in fact, just the blade bait in general. There was a lot of, not a lot, I guess, in relation to the amount of people that fish, there was a small portion of guys that did fish blade baits. And now they're not happy because the blade baits have become such a big thing on the rise.
Yeah,
So now it's kind of blowing their cover a little bit. But yeah, I don't know, Dan. It's a fun project. It's my dad and I, and the year after my dad retired, the right after my dad retired is when, I think he was in 2010, and 2011 is when I rolled this out. So I told him, I said, "You're not done working yet." So,
yeah,
but he's great. He probably does most of the fishing and field testing because I've been busy. I worked as a full-time firefighter paramedic for 13 years, and then 4 kids, and it's just my fishing time is usually with them. But this year, my goal is to get out a lot more. I'm doing a lot of very hard work, long hours right now, trying to get this stuff done to
yeah,
open myself up to being able to get out fishing myself and get back out trolling on Lake Pewaukee for muskies and try some of this stuff that really has not even seen the water yet in some of the bodies that I fish. So,
yeah.
hey Dan, I'm getting down to 10% on my battery on my phone right now. I'm
I'll let you go.
seeing,
We're at
but
38 minutes. I could talk to you for hours. So if you don't
I
mind, just
know. Well,
go ahead.
I'd be happy to come back on. I'd be happy to help co-host
We'll do these
sometime
other
with you to
nights.
talk to other
Yeah,
people.
we'll do these other nights because it's so easy to do. I send you the link. You go on and we can talk and we can go on with this. So with that, I guess we're going to say goodnight to everybody. Thank you, Justin. I'm going to have more. And
Thank you
we've
very
got
much,
we've
Dan.
got a lot of things that we can do, my friend. We have a lot of things we can do. It let people know if you've got a product or service that has to do with the outdoors and you'd like to talk about it. That's why I'm doing this. I want to talk about what you do. I want to talk about what you make. I just want to talk about what you got going on with the outdoors. That's why I'm doing this, and I'm going to keep doing because people fascinate me and their products fascinate me. So with that, are we going to say goodnight, Justin?
Good night, Dan. Thank you very much, and thank you for everybody that tuned in to listen to about the Equitail, learn about the Equitail here. So appreciate it. Thank you, Dan.
And I guess you
Have
got
a
to
good
go
night.
where you leave, and then we're going to say goodbye and thank you, everybody. Bye,
Yep.
Justin.
God
Bye.
bless. Bye bye.